GX460. Customer complaint is car leans to the right. Apparently this is a common concern. There's a service bulletin to replace the coil spring, and it's not the one you think it is. Here's the service bulletin flow charts. You know, of course, perform the inspection on a level surface. Confirm the wheels are on the ground facing straight ahead. Perform the inspection with the vehicle load completely on the suspension. Perform this step with the full fuel tank. Remove any parts installed in the vehicle that place any unbalanced load on the left or right side of the vehicle. Okay, now get on to the flow chart. View the vehicle from the rear. Is the vehicle leaning to the right? Yes. Measure the vehicle height difference from left to right. Is the difference from left to right greater than 20 millimeters or 0.79 inches? Yes, I'll show you that here in a minute. And the solution, even though the vehicle is leaning to the right, you would assume it has a weak coil spring on the right hand side, since that's the direction it is leaning. But the solution is to replace the front left hand side coil spring assembly. This is what you're going to need to fix the lean. 48131-60F50. This is the previous number. They got superseded with this one here. So we're going to install this new coil spring onto the left hand side and see if we can't get the lean out of this GX460. Here's our new coil spring, 48131-60F50. All right, so this is where it gets fun. Before we remove the strut, which the main hardware holding it on is these three, looks like 14 millimeter nuts. Again, here we probably got, I don't know, a 17 millimeter bolt with a nut. Those are the main things holding it in. But before we can get it out, we need to remove this guy up here. We're gonna go ahead and remove these three clips holding the harness in place, unplug it, and then what's really gonna be fun is getting these two tiny little bolts out of the 4 millimeter hex or Allen bolts. There's one here and there's one on the back side that you probably can't even see, but trust me, it's there. So this is what I'm having to do. 4 millimeter bits with a 1/4 inch wrench. If you have a ratcheting wrench, it's even better, but I don't really see another way of getting these off because there's no room for a socket or anything like that. So, yep, this sucks. I already got the back one out. With this actuator out of the way, you can get to the 17 millimeter nuts to remove this. So I'm gonna have to remove the outer tie rod, pop this socket loose, swing the arm out to get the strut out. There's not enough room. Alright, so I've got the strut on the spring compressor. Never remove this nut while there's tension on the spring. You're going to want to compress it until there's slack, until you could actually move the shock separate of the spring. Bless you. You go ahead and compress this and show you when it's safe to remove the nuts. All you need is a small amount of slack. Already I can move it a hair. One more pump. Two more, I should say. That should be plenty. Now from here I can go ahead and move the nuts and start the process of switching over the coil spring. So really, I just have to decompress it, get the spring out of here, and of course we're reusing the top hat, reusing the shock. Only thing getting changed out is the coil spring. Everything else gets reused and swapped over to the new spring. Smaller end of the spring goes down. You can tell it kind of tapers down. It's a little skinnier at the bottom. Make sure that's on the downside. And that's going to be your top side. Matching up the grooves where the end of the coil ended up on the bottom of the strut mount. Right there. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and compress it and reinstall the shock. Scary noises. See how there's a flat spot on top of that? That could go through the washer in only one way. So I might have to slide it through and do some rotating for the bottom of the coil to line up at the base of the shock. And this is one-handed. Sorry if I'm a little clumsy. Let me fix that washer. There we go. So let me make sure the bottom is lined up before I decompress and release this coil. You're gonna want this end to line up right there. A little bit of debris in here. Okay, let me go ahead and decompress it. So now I can go ahead and torque down this nut. It doesn't require a lot of torque. Just if I had to say, I would say maybe 10 foot-pounds at the most. Basically, you just want it snug and a little bit more until it bottoms out. You're good. This does not have to be super tight. But yeah, let me go ahead and torque this mountain nut down, and it's ready for reassembly. Okay, so beforehand we had a difference of honestly almost an inch. Now we're looking at about 34 1/8. So we'll call this a 34 1/8 on the passenger side, even though the spring we replaced was on the driver's side. Pretty strange, pretty strange. So this side, let's see where we're at now. Let's see, 34 1/4. Passenger side, we're at 34 1/8. Driver's side, 34 1/4. 1/8 of an inch higher on this side. And that's so strange how changing out this spring corrected the opposite side. Very interesting stuff. I'm not exactly sure how that works out, but it did. Swapping out this spring raised the passenger side. To repair for this GX, it is fixed. If you got a leaning issue, it's going to be your driver's side, left-hand side coil spring.